I had my daughter, and a lot of things shifted. I realized that it actually gave me more confidence, which was interesting. It was a weird shift. I felt like before I was nervous to take a lot of steps, and then I became a mom, and I'm like, the time is now. And it was interesting because now I have less time because I'm a mom, but I feel more empowered to go after my dreams. I hate being that person that has what if moments. I don't think anyone should be stuck in like, oh, what if I would have done this? Like, no, I was like, I'm going to do this, and the moment is now. So when you're tapping into new territory, it's scary. It's very scary. And if you start considering people's opinion or what they will say about you, it will inhibit your potential. So don't be afraid of doing something different.
Hola, and welcome to the Dare to Start interview series. My name is Alina, and for 30 days, I am talking to inspiring women who dare to start. Whether it was a career, a business, a project, or a dream that felt very scary at first. And the goal is to show you that with every big accomplishment, there is always a first step first. And today I am very honored, excited to interview my dear friend, Lucielle Salomon, who is also the founder of a clothing brand that is amazing, elegant, romantic called ARIMMA. So, Lucielle, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so let's dive in. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Of course. My background originally started in journalism, which is funny enough. Now that I'm starting a clothing brand, many people are surprised to hear that I originally started with journalism. I have a passion for writing. I've always wanted to be in fashion in some sort, but I always thought it would be in the journalism route or maybe even PR. But as a little girl, I always thought that maybe I would work at a fashion magazine. I'll be an editor one day. And I went to school for broadcast journalism. After a couple internships, I got a little scarred with journalism and ended up tapping into PR for a couple of years at a agency in Tampa, Florida. I managed a couple lifestyle brands like hotels and just boutiques and things of that nature that were directing consumers. And I had a blast. I enjoyed it so much. I got introduced to social media in that way at that agency, and that kind of like opened a new window for me. But then COVID came along, and I was like, you know what? This is a time to do something, that I've always wanted to do. And it ended up being more going back to journalism, which was interesting, but more in like fashion specific. Since I was a little girl, anyone could tell you in my family, friend group, they always knew that I will either be in fashion or beauty, just it's been in my nature. And I was always scared, and I didn't live in a big city that accommodated that, like New York or LA. I stayed in Tampa, which I wouldn't say at that time there was a big fashion or beauty scene, but I decided to take a risk, and I started applying for editor roles, small and bigger publications. And it was obviously a very challenging time during COVID, but there were some good opportunities in the sense that no one was really pinpointed to one location. Like things were more broad, more global in the sense that people were moving from those cities and going to these smaller towns or just smaller cities in general and working way more remotely than before. And I just took advantage of that. And as I started taking small courses just to occupy my time during COVID, I landed a role as an editor for a blog that focused on sustainability. And that just blew my mind of sustainable fashion. I learned so much during my research that I needed to, for my writing. I realized that was an avenue that I really wanted to focus on. So just this long story short, my background is in journalism. a little bit of PR, but I really wanted to go back to my root of fashion. But I tapped into fashion journalism, which was like my first love. And then that slowly introduced me to starting my clothing brand, thanks to all my research in fashion.
So tell us, what is ARIMMA?
Yeah. ARIMMA is an on-demand clothing brand that focus on timeless, romantic style, like pieces that will be in your closet, hopefully forever. I'm not about trends. Like, I do love something that feels trendy, like it belongs in that time of age. But at the same time, I like to not only create, but also buy pieces for my closet that I can see myself wearing for many, many years. So I would say the ARIMMA girl is someone that likes to invest in clothing that is very timeless, let's say 60s inspired, has that very romantic flair that they will probably wear forever and ever. And ARIMMA, many people ask me, like, what does that even mean? And there's a bit of a funny story, but ARIMMA is somewhat a made up word, but at the same time, it is an actual word. So ARIMMA without the double M, just one M, means soul in the Basque language, so the northern region of Spain. And I added the extra M so I could easily trademark it. So it's a bit of a unique word, but I can still play on it with my branding and the story of my brand. And how I landed on ARIMMA, I was just going on Google Translate and putting words that resonated with me and just going through many different languages. And I landed on soul, and I always really liked that word. And I knew, that, fashion is really, really personal and obviously like it's your soul. So I put soul on Google and I started going through all these languages, and I landed on the Basque language, and I'm like, ARIMMA. I kind of like that. I like that name. But that's what ARIMMA is. It's someone that wants to create, so that's really what is ARIMMA. ARIMMA is an on-demand brand, meaning we only make an item when you purchase it, which is a new business model. I wouldn't say that it's really different from the wholesale model. Let's see if it's sustainable in terms of, if the business can survive that way or not. But I do believe in just reducing waste. So I think it's a great way of doing business these days. So let's see how it goes. But that is ARIMMA, I would say, in a nutshell.
Amazing. I love the story. I love how I'm always very curious about the meaning of names, and I actually didn't know all this myself. So thank you for sharing here, and I think it's perfect. It describes the brand 100%. And I am actually one of the first users. I had a piece that it's really, I think, without knowing what, this is new information for me. When I wore it, I felt like that. I felt like this is unique, this is elegant, this is something I could wear forever. And I used it for a family photo shoot, which is something that we're gonna be seeing forever. And I'm sure that even when we're old, I think that fashion statement, I think that outfit will still be relevant then. So
yeah,
I love it. So was there like a specific moment that you're like, okay, I'm going to start this online sustainable clothing brand?
Yeah. I feel like there is, but it was also something that has been just building over the years, just because growing up, first, I knew I wanted to work in fashion, although I knew I wanted to be a journalist at the same time. But I also knew that at some point in my life, I would have a brand. I will be a business owner of some sort. I come from a family of business owners, like my dad, my grandfather. So that kind of was instilled in me growing up, but I wasn't really sure growing up exactly what would that look like. At some point, I thought that would have been more in the beauty industry with lipsticks. Everyone around me knows I love lipstick, but wasn't sure, maybe in the future, but at this point, it was never that. It was, my calling was kept on being fashion. So when I mentioned that I had that moment of, I'm going to go for it as a fashion journalist, as a fashion editor, and I started doing my research in terms of sustainable fashion and just learning more about it on my own and becoming an editor for a blog called Eco Cult, I realized, you know what? I think there's room and space for me to create a brand. And I hate being that person that has what if moments. I don't think anyone should be stuck in like, oh, what if I would have done this? Like, no, I was like, I'm going to do this and the moment is now. So I wouldn't say there was like an exact pinpoint moment. It was something I was building over the years, but it was definitely, I would say after post-COVID, I feel like that was such a big moment that I took time to reflect, and I think many people also had a lot more time to reflect. And as I was more into that atmosphere with research and sustainability, I realized, no, I'm going to go for it.
One of the many reasons why I admire you is because honestly, that thinking about you're not going to be okay with the what ifs, that's something that not everybody does. So, and I know that is hard because actually the fear of doing something, I know that is really big. In your case, the fear of not doing it, it's actually greater. But I'm sure that perhaps throughout all this journey, have you had any fears or doubts while you're creating the brand?
Oh my God, a lot. So many doubts, mainly because I didn't go to school for fashion design. That was something that hindered me a lot because I figured, you know, how much value am I providing to the industry when I can't even really create a garment that would fit someone properly? That just always scared me. But I slowly realized that sometimes taking the untraditional route is way better because you get to see the industry in a completely different lens. Sometimes when you're trained by the industry, trained by someone, and they teach you how things have always been done, so you kind of go that route because that's what you've been taught. And because I don't have that background per se of sketching and just how design works, I was scared, but I also feel like that sort of gave me an advantage, and has slowly become one of my biggest assets, I think, because I'm able to like try and just challenge the industry a little bit more. But I definitely doubted my potential just because I didn't have that background. But I just, I started to learn.
Awesome. But then now, do you sketch your own designs?
So I don't technically sketch. So all my designs are original. So I definitely come up with like the mood board, the vision board. I come up with a collection based on like what I'm feeling, what I'm looking for. Then I did end up hiring a freelancer that's more like the technical designer. And with her, we collaborated. And that also took time. And that's also a really interesting journey. But I thought I had to do it all, and I was trying to sketch and do all of these things. And it's like, well, why not? And I apologize if in the background, I'm a mom of two. So from time to time, you'll hear my daughter wanting my attention. Just life, right? In a real time situation.
Love it. Well, so then now that you mentioned that you're a mom of two, you did mention the fear, which is understandable, that imposter syndrome. How do you say that?
Yeah. And I had that big time, and I still struggle with it.
Yeah. Honestly, one of the reasons why I got my master's in marketing is because I ended up with the title of digital marketing manager in 2015. And I was like, I'm a marketer, and I didn't believe that I was good at what I had. I didn't go to school for that. So when I actually got the title, then I was like the diploma, I was like, okay, I'm a marketer. But I mean, that was one of the reasons why I joined. The real reason is because I wanted to teach at a college level. But yeah, the improv, that really, it's something that is really in all of us. It's crazy. But when you mention your kids, now that I'm going, you're ahead in the game, the family thing. But did you also have fear related to starting this brand and I'm also starting a family?
Oh, for sure. And so I started creating ARIMMA in my head and researching before I had kids. I wouldn't say I was all in working on it full time. I did have a full-time job at the moment. I was working for Yahoo as an editor there, and as dabbling, researching for my brand, designing my collection, just on and off. And then I had my daughter, and a lot of things shifted. I realized that it actually gave me more confidence, which was interesting. It was a weird shift. I felt like before I was nervous to take a lot of steps, and then I became a mom, and I'm like, the time is now. And it was interesting because now I have less time because I'm a mom, but I feel more empowered to go after my dreams. But things moved a little bit slow because of, becoming a new mom and also the imposter syndrome. But I did put more time and energy with my brand at that time. And then now I have another kid. I have a son who's 3 months, and trying to manage it all has been insane. I've been trying, give myself some grace because I'm very hard on myself. And I think many people can relate. We want to do everything at the same time. And I remember hearing, I don't know from where, but it's like they say, you can do everything, but not all at the same time. So I have to remember that. But managing everything has been really challenging. But I would say becoming a mom has showed me that we can accomplish what we want. It just gave me some sort of empowerment that I didn't think motherhood would give, it was just really interesting. So
I cannot agree more with you. I think that's exactly what happened to me. Like, I saw my baby, and it wasn't like, oh my God, you have to do it. It wasn't even, a lot of people say, oh, I'm doing it for her. It was just like, I have to follow what my heart says. It was just, I don't know. I agree with you. And despite all the chaos and everything, even if you have 5 minutes, I think are the most productive 5 minutes.
It really is.
Well, so you clearly have learned a lot through this process. And at Women Who Market, we're a lot about learning. And that's what I want to ask you. What is that highlight? What is that a key lesson that you have learned from all your journey?
Yeah. I feel like there are a couple lessons that were also mistakes, but I feel like mistakes always end up being lessons. And one that I already tapped earlier was doubting my potential. It's like, don't doubt yourself, even though you didn't take that, traditional route, let's say academically going to school. Don't let that hinder you. You can do whatever you want. There's so many entrepreneurs out there that didn't go even to college, they didn't even finish school, and then ended up being the biggest entrepreneurs out there. And I would say another lesson is, again, from a mistake, was procrastinating. It was just an excuse. I feel like I was always looking for a perfect moment, so you just have to push through instead of procrastinating. I don't know, there was just a lot of, I will do that later. Oh, it's not the right time. And that's my personal issue. I always search or looking for the perfect moment, whether that is to launch my brand, whether it is another tweak for my collection. Oh, no, this sleeve and needs a little button, and needs another this. And my husband in the background would be like, just launch, just go with it, iterate in down the road. So procrastinating instead of pushing through. That it's I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but I would say that was a big lesson. And then
Okay.
another mistake, I would say that not outsourcing my weakness fast enough. So I had to learn through that. It's like, you don't have to be an expert at everything. Of course, it's your brand, it's your company, it's your business, like your baby. You want to know what's happening, but you can't wear every single hat. First, there's not enough time to learn and do everything. And at the same time, like, let other people that are experts like shine with what they're, capable of doing. So I would say that was one of the biggest lessons, because it's taken me years. Like, this brand has been years in the making, and beyond like what I've said of doubting my potential, like procrastinating instead of pushing through, I was also trying to do everything myself. I learned, yeah, for sure. I learned, and that I'm grateful. But I think if I would have from the beginning allocated some money, because it's been all self-funded, like it's a tiny little brand. No one's like having big budgets behind it, putting big budgets behind it. So I should have just allocated a little bit of outsourcing some of the work at the very beginning, because I wanted to do it all at the same time. And something that many people probably don't struggle, or some might relate, it was a mistake that of course became a lesson, like I mentioned, was like not sharing my ideas. I don't know why. I felt like I want to keep it all to myself, me fear of judgment,
Okay.
or just not wanting, just like feedback. I don't know, but I felt like for so long I kept everything to myself. And there's so many people out there, including you, Alina, like they want to help. Like, people want to help you and they want to be part of your journey. I know myself, I always get excited if someone shares like their idea with me, and I try to, brainstorm, see if there's something I can do or someone else I can connect them with. So I would say just share your ideas. Of course, not everyone out there is, the best person that would have like the best interests. But so be mindful of who you share your ideas with, but just don't be afraid of sharing your ideas. And I feel like I'm constantly afraid of sharing my ideas for some reason, but I think it's been a lesson that I'm slowly overcoming, of just talk about it, because people may just want to cheer you on, but maybe that person will connect you from A to B, and you had no idea that they had that resource for you. Or maybe they're just your sounding board, or maybe they're just there to support, So I think sharing is good.
It is. And you never know, maybe in the moment, you actually could even be helping that person more, because maybe that person, who knows what's happening with that person, is like, oh
Yeah.
my God, Lucielle thought of me to share this.
Mhm.
And then that even is like a boost of energy for the other person. And maybe nothing comes out of it at the moment,
Yeah.
but maybe 2, 3, 5 months, a year later, something can come up. I do agree with all of what you're saying. And here is a new news for you. Basically, what you just said in the last 2 or 3 minutes is actually the core of what you learned in your master's.
Mm.
Concentrate on your core values. It's not about what to do, but who can help you. You also have to be very mindful of your circle. But if you from the get-go surround yourself with good people, when it's time to share, you know that you're surrounded by good people.
Exactly.
So look at you. I mean, you are a master in business.
Oh yeah.
We are doing this series because we want to give courage to people to start whatever they have in their mind. So if you have one sentence, one word, or one advice that would you give to the person that is watching this, she or he knows exactly what he wants to do, but that fear is greater than the actual fear of doing it, what would you say to them?
Oh man, yeah. I would say don't let exterior factors inhibit your potential. I feel like it's really when you're tapping into new territory, it's scary. It's very scary. And if you start considering people's opinion or what they will say about you, it will inhibit your potential. So don't be afraid of doing something different because it might upset someone, or you don't know what that person's going to say about you. Just go for it, and don't be afraid of making mistakes, because I already mentioned like all my lessons in the previous question a few minutes ago, and those mistakes became like really good lessons, and that I wish I would have just knew that from the beginning. But at the same time, you kind of have to go through it to learn, so I would say just don't be afraid of making mistakes, and don't be afraid of taking small steps too, because I think we want to make things happen so quickly. Yet there's sometimes, things take time, but if you take small steps little by little, at the end of the day, you will get there. You will climb the ladder. And that's something, not to toot my own horn, but something that I'm very proud of myself is that I've continued taking small steps with this brand. It's been many years that I've worked on it. I would say it's been on my mind for 4 years or 5, I don't know, but I've slowly been working on it despite becoming a mom, then having another kid. Like, it's just been so many life changes that I've had over the years, but I've still continued to take small steps. And thankfully, this year, knock on wood, but I'm soon to launch. I've had I've done some product photo shoots. I've been testing my website, almost finalized. I have a campaign photo shoot at the end of the month. So I should be launching this fall, which I'm obviously extremely nervous, but so happy and ready to put this out there because it's been many years in the making. But I'm glad I never gave up, that I just decided to take small steps, because small steps still, move the needle and get you there.
Yes, and I am so glad that you didn't give up. I cannot wait for you to launch your brand and have my pieces, because I know that I'm going to have my ARIMMA pieces, that whenever it's something important, you don't even have to think about it. I know exactly what I have to do. It feels so nice.
I appreciate it.
Yes, like once you put it on, it's like it feels so good. So I cannot wait for your launch. And actually, that's the end of this interview. And of course, I know people want to connect with you. So how can they find you?
Yeah, of course. If you want to follow me on my personal account, that is Lucielle Salomon, on every platform out there, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And for my brand, that is Shop ARIMMA. Again, it's ARIMMA, and my website for ARIMMA is arimma.com. I have a landing page. I would love for you to add your email so you can stay up to date with everything that's happening behind the scenes, and be the first to know when we launch this fall.
Amazing. Lucielle, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. And because we are in the Dare to Start interview series, I want to remind you about the Dare to Start challenge, which is exactly this. Lucielle, she's a go-getter, and she go ahead and did it on her own. But that's why we're here in Women Who Market, to kind of walk the walk with you. Dare to Start challenge is that we want to help you start that thing that has been in your mind for a while. So all you do is tell us what is that idea, and we give you mini marketing lessons with some homework, and we are with you throughout the whole process with the promise that you start your thing. Well, thank you again. Please make sure to connect with Lucielle and ARIMMA and all the social networks. And until the next interview.
Bye. Thank you.